This is the 69th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the second to last week of November 2011.
Good save.
This episode is titled Do Match Luck. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, your coffee experts. I'm your host, Jason Howard. Joining me for the special occasion on episode 69 is co-host Justin Elstein. Justin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm fine.
I never ask you.
Well, for the last 68 times, I've been great. Today, I'm just average.
Okay.
We have a couple things to talk about today on the agenda. We have a new blog post by you, as promised per last podcast.
I did promise.
You promised and you delivered. So we'll talk about that.
I always deliver on my promises.
We'll also then talk about something else we talked about, I think, in one of the last podcasts, which is the do.com beta.
Yep.
We made it in. And so we'll talk about what it is and what could do better, what could do worse. It's a beta. We have a new look for Gmail, and then iTunes Match is live, and I have been playing with it. And blog brag, I will probably be writing my blog post next week about it. So I'll talk a little bit about it. I hear you have tons of questions for me.
I kind of do because I've never seen it.
About what it does and what it doesn't do.
I'm going to basically interview you about it.
Oh, it's going to be an interview. All right, well, let's get to that then. Let's go quickly and talk about your social context blog.
All right, so I wrote a blog post. Basically,
where is it? Where can I find it?
It's on blog. I'm going to go to it right now, blog.arkusinc.com. And it's the entry called Salesforce Social Contacts Review. And it echoes a lot of what we talked about last week on the podcast, so I'm not going to go through it in great detail. But I broke it down into 4 sections. And the 4 sections were, an overview of what it is, things that I liked, things that need improvement, which was 2 paragraphs long, and where I want social contacts to go. I also stated, almost as if it was a safe harbor statement, that this is the first iteration, the first the first release of social contacts. So, while there are things lacking, it's still a neat feature. It just needs some refinement to make it really useful. At the moment, it's cool and flashy. It needs to be useful.
Yeah.
And usable in a way that can help people be more productive and actually glean the insights that they're supposed to by being able to see more social data. I railed again on the LinkedIn. I think that's actually a really big meme going on. Like, the LinkedIn connector is kind of a little ridiculous, if you ask me.
It's a complete and utter total failure. Just say like it is.
It is.
Like, I've gone more negative.
It's a complete upsell effort, and it gives nothing. It brings nothing to the table in its current form, except for the ability to pay $30 a month a user to get something that might be more useful. It actually lacks the one thing that I think that it wouldn't have cost $34.95 to put in, and I just think that, I can't believe... Like a link?
A link.
I put that in my blog
post. I'm stunned that they didn't even provide a link that just bounces you out to another tab of your browser so you can at least go look at it. It is so maddening, so kind of just short-sighted and nickel and dimey. I actually think social. If you turned it off today in the org, I'd be like, fine.
Yeah,
I think it's gone.
Care.
I think it's gone more negative. I actually like it less and less, and the more I talk about it and think about it, the more I'm like, it adds no value. Great, it has a picture. That is it. It brings in a photo from LinkedIn. Other than that, it doesn't do a lot, and I guess I'm disappointed really because. It's like saying to my child, I'm disappointed in you. I feel like I need to call up Salesforce and tell them I'm very disappointed in them because you made a big splash about something that really, when you launched it, is less than a ho-hum. It's not even like a feature that I wouldn't use it. It's a feature without the critical things that just should have been done. We know it's not technologically, to put a link in there is not technologically difficult. So... but let's move on. Go read the blog post. Comment on it. Actually, people have been commenting on it.
People have already. Somebody, actually someone pointed out one of the flaws that I mentioned, and then went and voted on in the idea exchange, which was that they enabled it in their org over the last week. And the first question that they got was, where's social leads? Sure, it'll be extended over time, but in the meantime, they gave the link to the idea on the idea exchange. So the link to the idea for social leads is actually linked there in the comments section of the blog post.
Great. I'm actually going to give some advice that I haven't taken myself, which is that I haven't gone, we were talking about today, I haven't done it, but I want to go to the idea exchange and start to pull up all the social contact ideas and start voting on them big time, because there's so many missing things.
Also comment on them.
Yeah, comment on them.
Because the product managers read and respond within the comments.
Right.
So if there are specific things that you want to see and how you want them to work, absolutely go to the ideas exchange and put them in there. Vote on the things that are already there. I've done so.
Great.
Everyone else should do so, because Salesforce is pretty good about that. They listen and they try and deliver where they can.
Side rat hole. I was talking to someone today. I guess they found me on Quora, and they asked.
Social.
Yes, that was so social. And they saw my experience on Quora for Salesforce. I answered a lot of questions there, and they contacted me, said, "I'd like to talk to you about, we're developing a product, pretty cool product. I'm not going to talk about it. I mean, it's not NDA or anything, but whatever, cool thing they're developing." But one of the things they started asking about was, what are the limitations of Salesforce? What are the things, what are the feature gaps? What are the things that you would do? And actually, someone else asked this question on Quora that I think I answered. And it's funny, I was like, I started to answer it, I started to go, and I thought, wait a second, this stuff is all very well documented. Salesforce documents their biggest gaps on their own idea exchange. You want to see what the biggest gaps are? Go to the idea exchange, choose unimplemented, and go most views or most clicks, and there's a list of 50 things that they know, we know, everybody knows is a gap. And I kind of thought, I think we give them sort of guff, and certainly social contacts giving them guff on that, but that concept that they have a platform that shows their gaps in their products and where things aren't working or aren't working as well as people want them to work, pretty respectable. I mean, I know idea exchange has been around forever, but I think we just take a step back and go, that's pretty respectable, right? Where would you go find that for Apple, let's say? You wouldn't, right? They don't take in they don't want to know what you think. They're going to develop them their own way. So anyway, but that's neither here nor there. So go to the idea exchange, which is there. Speaking of things you need to do, do.com beta.
Do.com beta.
Do.com beta.
So I tweeted the other day, a few nights back, as part of the MVP program, I was asked if I would, since I'm attending CloudForce, if I would go ahead and tweet something about CloudForce. And I put a tweet out there that's actually part of a contest. So if you're listening, go ahead and retweet my tweet from the other day, where I said, my tweet was excited for CloudForce in 2 weeks. Would really like to see at Do Work Together, which is do.com's Twitter handle. Would really like to see at Do Work Together to see what it can ... do. Because I hadn't really seen it. I've heard there's some beta invites and I didn't get in. And, to their credit, within literally 30 minutes, they private messaged me back and said, "We're so glad you're so enthusiastic. Here's a private beta code.
Wow.
Enjoy." So, great job, Do. Great job listening. Great job watching. Good stuff. Great job.
I wonder if they're using, what platform they're using.
I'm sure that they're using some platform called Radiant 6. Probably. Anyway, though, so we got in. When I got my beta invite, I immediately invited some team members from Arkus, you included. And, you get five seats within this private beta. So it's mine and 4 others. I invited a bunch of people. And it's an interesting platform. It's very lightweight right now.
Yep.
It's, we have talked about GTD on this podcast. You've written about GTD on blog posts.
Mostly mine.
And mostly yours. Like I said, you've written about them.
Yes.
And
you've written about them.
Meaning you, Jason.
Me, yes.
I see this as an extremely light version of a GTD task manager because it breaks things out into a few sections: projects and tasks.
Yep.
And you can have a project where you can have tasks nested within them, or you can just have plain old tasks. And each task itself you can assign to yourself or assign to other people, or invite other people into the task to work on it. And within each task, there are comment threads and things going back and forth within the task until you mark it done. You can attach Google Documents right to it, so it connects to your Google Apps account, allows you to pull in your Google Documents or spreadsheets to start collaborating. Mind you, we believe that Do.com is built on the ManyMoon platform that Salesforce purchased, which was a Google Apps application.
Yep.
So that makes perfect sense that it would integrate with Google Apps that well. And
you know what it doesn't feel like?
What doesn't it feel like?
Salesforce.
No, not at all. No, not at all.
Nothing.
It's an HTML5 app. It has a web app that we're looking at right now on Do.com. I know I can hear your clicking, so you're probably clicking around on it.
I am actually, so I'm playing around with it again. I've played around with it before.
And it has a mobile app, so I have it on my iPhone. I have it on my on the web. And it doesn't necessarily sync, but it's real. It's a web app. So the mobile app, you just refresh it, and then there's the data there.
So it's not offline.
And it has push notifications. I don't know if it's offline. I haven't tested it, meaning I'm very rarely offline with the iPhone. I could have just put it into airplane mode and see what happens.
Subway twice a day.
I don't think about going into Do on my phone while I'm in the subway. I'm listening to my own voice on a podcast.
I literally write down more things to do in the subway than I do anywhere else, because that's.
I don't know if it'll work.
All right.
You can give it a shot. I think this is pretty decent as a lightweight task manager. Yep. It can certainly replace, if you're using any of the hundreds of task management apps on your phone, and have this sync up to the web and invite people to collaborate around different tasks or projects. Very interesting product.
I sent in feedback immediately after using it for about, 10, 15 minutes. I am someone who pretty well versed in the task management.
You most certainly are.
I have looked at a lot. I've played with a ton. Toodle-Do is actually a really good one if you haven't. Should have been my app pick of the week, but it's not.
Well, this is just Do, not Toodle-Do.
No, I'm saying
I
another
know what
one
you're
that's
saying.
It's been around for years and years and years. They have a really good platform. It's very lightweight. It's good. It has the basics of a task management. It has the emailing back and forth, which is nice.
And emailing in,
which is nice.
Task at Do.com.
It's good.
I could see myself, getting an email,
right,
forwarding it to task at Do.com, and then having that centralized.
What it really it's like someone gives you you go to Baskin Robbins. You go to Baskin Robbins. Do you like ice cream?
I love ice cream.
All right, so you go to Baskin Robbins.
Look at me, I love ice cream.
Yeah, you're Ben and Jerry. Well, you're a shadow of your former self.
That's true.
Factually correct. So if you go to Baskin Robbins or Ben and Jerry's, let's say Ben and Jerry's is probably better. And
Ben and Jerry's is better.
Yeah,
for
or
the record.
Cold Stone. Let's go Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and Jerry's is
and you
better.
see all these flavors, and they just came out with this brand new flavor called Chocolate, 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 Death by Chocolate, right? With chocolate chips. Which I'm a big chocolate fan, so I would see that and be like, oh, I want some. And they give me one of those little freaking cups, those little little cups, those little pill cups, like the tester.
Oh,
yeah. And you
taster?
have the little tiny little spoon.
The little spoon.
And you eat it, and it's just so good, and it has all the stuff in it you want. Like it has the chocolate and the chocolate and the chocolate on top of it. And then you go, can I get more? And they're like, no, because that's all. We only have that, and that's all we're gonna have for 6 months. And you can never get it again, and you can never buy it again, and it won't go anywhere else. I feel like this is a great concept thing, but all it makes you do is yearn for more. Like, great, but I want it to be connected to Salesforce. Great, why aren't tasks in Salesforce this? I know they bought another platform, but knowing that it came from Salesforce, meaning that's the mothership now, it just makes me go, this will be so much 1,000 times better when these features are built into the platform that I'm already using for semi-task management. I don't use it for a ton.
I think these tasks are superior to Salesforce tasks in every single way.
Well, there's one thing they're not, which is the attaching to multiple stuff.
They're not related to, these are only related to a project, because that's what this platform is meant for, projects and tasks. And for those of you out there who are yearning for a Do beta invite, be patient, it's coming.
Yeah.
But I would certainly recommend getting in there and trying this out and seeing if it fits into your workflow.
Yeah.
Again, the ability to collaborate as a team around projects and tasks This is a nice project management.
But yeah, then I would say, High Rise has this and then a million times over, right? And then has a million other features with it. It's a great start. It looks to me exactly what it is. It's a startup company that said, hey, if we just went and built this really hot, lightweight feature not complete, but feature just showing what we can do, HTML, slick, task manager, and then got bought by somebody. Like, wouldn't that be cool? And that's what they did. Mm-hmm. Now it's great, what are you going to do with it, right? You got this very slick platform. I'm more excited to see what they're going to do with it. Yep. Also, I will say, one of the tenets of GTD and getting things done, we talk about a lot, is really something called Ubiquitous Capture, which is that you should at any time, all the stuff that's floating in your head, you should get it out of your head and get it into your task, which you can then review weekly, blah, blah, blah. The tenet to that is that you should be able to capture something wherever you are, anytime, and not have to worry about it, right? And so with the task manager that I use, and you use, I assume, most of the time, is something that it is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's with me not only on 1 or 3, but 7 devices. I can put it in anywhere. It'll find its way back, and it doesn't matter if I'm on my Mac, looking at my email, anywhere I am, I can throw stuff into it, OmniFocus, and I know that I'll have captured it, and I trust it. If I have to go to a website and click 4 to 5 links in, either log in, click in, done. It's a no-brainer for me. I can't do it. It has to be ubiquitous. It has to be everywhere. It has to be offline, online, on a plane, in a boat.
You don't have to do it that way. Just so to be clear, that do.com, you don't have to go to the website to get a task into it.
No, I understand.
Okay.
But to do the other stuff, again, I am assuming that I can't associate a task to a project without being in the app.
Probably not.
Right. I can send it an email and it'll turn into a task. Great. It doesn't know who else I want it. It doesn't have other stuff. So again, I love it. Great start. I'm more excited to see what Salesforce is going to do.
I think the hottest feature of it is the attachment piece. The adding. It's flawless. Like it knows who you are in Google Docs. It brings up every doc that you have available to you in your account. You can search through them. You can just grab them and attach them to a task. And I think that's pretty hot. But and the commenting on them. But we'll see how this evolves. I'm hoping to see some of this. This all stemmed from what do I want to see at CloudForce. I was hoping to see some do.com and maybe even a roadmap of do and maybe an explanation of why do, why do,
why
right?
do the do.
So if you're into it, retweet my tweet because I would love that. It would help me out in the competition. And some self-promotion there.
Tweet
bragging. All right, let's move on.
All right, so there's a new look to Gmail, which is hotter than hot. It's actually it's the conversation view new look of Gmail,
right?
Which came out, I guess, a couple days ago.
Well, they have the new interface look,
right,
and the new way to look at mails themselves. So it has that grayed out look with the red.
Yep.
That everything else looks like now.
Yep.
Google Docs looks like it.
Gmail,
Reader looks like it. Yep. You know what doesn't look like it? Google Wave. Google Wave still looks like Google Wave.
By the way, never going to.
No.
And you know what? Don't care about that.
Google Wave.
It's good by itself.
I hope it's not working in Safari for me anymore. So
it's working.
Only working in Chrome at this moment for me. I'm hoping it just doesn't die.
We're
keeping it. We're the only ones.
Yeah.
We're keeping it alive. So
keep it alive.
Anyway, Gmail now has the new look. It also has like a kind of like the conversation view that for those of you who are Apple users, the mail.app now has with where it breaks out the individual conversations into threads. Gmail always had this. It's now just a little bit more apparent. It still does exactly what it always did, where it put every email on one line, except now it just shows a few more lines, like a little bit more of a preview. I had to actually remove a Labs product that I was using to reformat my Gmail into like 3 panes.
Right.
So that I could see this new feature.
The comment thread is a really nice feature.
Yeah.
If nothing else in Lion, what's Lion was $29.
$29.99.
It was really worth just for mail. Mail alone was worth every penny of Lion. Mail that app. It is. I love the minimalist look. I love that I just go in and I do mail and I don't do anything else. But this is nice. I just actually switched it on. It's very nice.
Yep.
I've gotten used to the new look. I like that it's consistent.
Yes,
it
Google
is clean.
Finally, consistently across all their products, made the UI the same.
Yep.
They're getting better and better at that.
And I like that you can turn it on. You know, Google's doing this sort of more rolling release thing where they tell you about it and then they allow you to turn it on, and then it'll probably become standard.
That's for enterprise adoption.
Yep.
Certainly.
Very nice. Good job, and always like a
While we're on Gmail, I have a few labs turned on in my Gmail that I think are really useful for those Gmail users. I have 3 that I think are just very useful. One, I have the Google Calendar widget. It's on the left-hand side, so it shows my calendar. I also have the Google Docs widget, so it throws all my docs into Gmail, and I have the chat on the right. So the chat moves off the left and moves over to the right. So it sort of puts it more on the page instead of scrolling down on the left. So there's plenty of labs out there. Those are a couple that I really like.
So funny. I rarely use the web version. And when I use it, I'm always like, oh, this is very nice. But I still end up going back.
I very rarely use it myself, but when I do, I want it to be as useful as possible. Yeah. So I did customize it a little bit.
Absolutely. Next up on the agenda, we have a very big sort of lauded thing we heard about last year, which is the new iTunes Match is now live. Blog brag, this will be my blog post next week. I will talk about this and review it in full. But you know what? Take it away. Interview me.
I'm going to interview you like a broadcaster.
I turned it on yesterday.
Okay.
And I played with it last night and this morning.
Okay. So earlier this afternoon, we were on the elevator.
Yes.
Going to lunch together.
Yes.
As we do. And you were scrolling through your iTunes library on your phone, and I'm making the motion with my finger right now for those that
like left to right.
And there was you were scrolling through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of albums.
That's correct.
Can you explain to me where those are sitting? Are they sitting on your device? Are they sitting in the cloud somewhere? Like, how are you able to get to all of your albums?
So, iTunes Match, which is what the question I think is, which is, what is iTunes Match and how does it work?
Well, I see all this music. You're scrolling through it now. And I know that there's not enough space on your device to hold all that music.
So iTunes Match is a service by Apple that instead of... We've talked about Google Music, and we've talked about Amazon Drive.
We've talked about Spotify, which is very different.
Very different. So what this is saying for $24.95 a year ongoing, you can take every piece of music you've ever bought or ripped, actually ripped because bought's already up there, and from Salesforce, from Apple, crossing wires, and it will go through your collection. Instead of uploading like Google Music does over however long, sometimes that takes a while, it says we'll just match it. We have 18 million songs, we're going to match them. So if we find, for example, and I could find some really horrible song in here, let's see how embarrassing.
Where's the Milli Vanilli?
Oh, let's do Talking Heads, that's not bad.
Talking Heads is not embarrassing at all.
So that one I bought. Okay, there's embarrassing. So if we find
crisscross,
the crisscross, totally crossed out
what will they make
album,
you do?
Nothing. They make you jump. So what it does is it goes through your collection, you turn it on, and then you turn it on your devices. And what it says is, we're going to show you now, it goes through your music, it then try to matches, and that took like an hour to try to match across, and then anything you couldn't find, it then uploaded. Then anything that's in my collection, again, that's available there or that I uploaded, when I turn it on my device, so I went to iPad, went to iPhone, turn it on, and it says, do you want to show all music that's there or not there? Right? You say
see
yes.
it now. So you can't start playing that. You have to download it.
No.
No?
No. I actually can just hit the music, and it will start to stream.
Really?
Instantly.
I like that.
So now I just hit
not that jump because it's not playing. It's downloading it in the background.
But it's not. It doesn't download the whole thing. It starts to download it, and then starts to play it while it downloads, just like anything would. So now
please turn that off.
Now you're enjoying Jump.
Right.
So, and while it continues to play, it will then download it.
Okay.
So if you want to go listen to Jump again and again and go on the subway and listen to it, it's downloaded. So it's
I can download it if I want. It's not going to automatically download it for me.
No, it is downloading.
It is downloading,
but it'll play it while I download. So it streams it, which is what's.
But am I going to run out of storage on my device?
I think it'll. There we go. Look, it just did this little thing where it says,
I see it's downloaded.
Yeah. But so what it did is it started to play it before it downloaded.
Sure. It's like streaming it and downloading it at the same time. But now
here's
it's putting things onto my device. Now
it'll then take them off as need be.
It will.
Yeah, there's no setting or anything to take them off or not. You can download, if you want to actually download it, I could hit download all, and it will download it. And if I click on this in advance, I can download it as well.
This being a little cloud thing.
So now I'm listening to this and downloading this,
that
and maybe in this, and this, and this.
Yeah, download the whole album. Right. All right.
So it's kind of a combination of both. It's both saying, if you want to stream stuff and just listen to it, go ahead. In fact, I played with this because I was listening to, I went to a cabaret show in New York, and this guy, he butchered Billy Joel songs. Oh. So then I went to listen to some Billy Joel.
That's painful.
And what was nice is you can just say, you can go to an artist, and you can say, shuffle all, and it'll just play them like it's a playlist.
Right.
And just play them.
Right.
So downloading them and playing them in advance.
But can I do this without an internet connection?
Well, no, because they're in the cloud.
So if I'm on the subway, I can't get to all my music.
No, that would, you'd have to have physical storage to do that.
Well, listen, I'm asking the questions here, okay?
So
in airplane mode now.
I just went to airplane mode. This is like a virtual review of it. And now you can see if I try to hit boop,
it's going to say no.
Right? But if I try to hit boop, it's going to say you want to listen to Captain Jack. So I was listening to Captain Jack earlier, so it pulled it down.
So it pulled it down for you.
So here's Captain Jack playing.
Right. We don't have the rights to this.
Broadcast,
we don't have the rights to this.
Yes.
Please turn that off.
So it's kind of a mix and match of both. What's nice is, and the one that I was really excited with, is it just allows you to start playing it. You don't have to, because if
you're connected to the internet.
If you're connected to the internet, right? But that's with anything. You can't play things that are on Spotify or Pandora without being connected to the internet.
Right.
But then it also takes it down. So then, if you listen to something and want to come back to it, you also have it offline. I think it matches up a perfect.
Does harmony. It match well?
Yeah, it matched. I have 9,000 songs, and it matched like 7,000 something.
So then, with the other two, it just threw them up there.
It threw them up there. It threw them up pretty quick.
Okay.
Limitations. It needs to have less than 25,000 songs in an iTunes library.
Not even close.
You can have multiple iTunes libraries,
right?
So it can match all of them, but that's the limitation on it. So there's a workaround, which is you can tell in iTunes, you can say use these 3 libraries. So if you had 300,000 songs, you'd have to build a couple different libraries.
So I'm looking at this right here, this album that you have, like a Billy Joel best of type of thing.
Right.
Why does it not have the album art?
The album art? I don't know. I don't know if that's something that I imported and it didn't match, or if it's something that, because I haven't gone through.
You didn't buy that. I'm assuming you didn't buy Billy Joel Greatest Hits Volume 2 from iTunes. I assume you had that on CD or something.
Yeah, so either it didn't match and didn't have it, or I didn't have it on my side. I'm not sure. And I haven't played with the other thing that'll come up in the blog post. I haven't played with the other scenarios. Like, what happens if I go back to my thing and I find this album art on my computer? You can match and say get it, and I can just drag it on there. Will that then go up and then come back down? Don't know. Also playing. What I love about iTunes, and I don't know how many people use this, but I'm a geek, so I do this. You can do lists about how many times you've played or not played things.
Right.
So every time you listen to something, like I listen to My Life here, it then marks it as listened to, and every time I listen to it, it keeps going more and more and more. So I can have a top 50. I have a playlist that's the top 50 things I listen to the most, and it's basically a collection of really crappy music that I like to listen to. I don't know if I listen to something on this, whether that goes back to the overall iTunes library to tell me that I've listened to it 100 times. If I listen to My Life 50 times today, is it on my computer? Is it going to say 50 times more? Don't know.
I'm hoping that this works as well as you've described, because I've had some issues recently with iTunes and my iOS devices and syncing, particularly the Wi-Fi sync. That has not worked well at all.
Totally agree. The Wi-Fi sync has been absolutely...
It's a complete fail.
It has been pretty bad. When it works, it seems to just happen. It is very slow.
And it's not picking up the changes that I'm making to say, sync this bit of music, sync this bit of music. This will take care of that for me, because it'll just throw all the music up, and even if it's not synced, it's there for me to go grab.
Right.
But... there are some things, and another one with the wireless updating. My iPad is sitting there in my apartment, and I'm connected to iTunes, and it's connecting the iPad, and it says, "Hey, there's an update for your iPad. Would you like to do it?"
Right.
Wirelessly, and I say, "Sure." Well, there's not enough space on my iPad for the download of the update.
Oh.
And it goes into this infinite loop of trying to put the update on the iPad, but the iPad not having enough space to take it, and it got very screwy. So I had to take some stuff off. They haven't totally perfected this yet.
I totally agree about the Wi-Fi. I thought about undoing it and just going back to plugging it in, because plugging it in was just very reliable. I get a new podcast, let's say, I don't know, CloudFocus Weekly, I want to listen to it. The whole, getting it over now, it's does it come over? Then I end up just going into iTunes and downloading it again, and then I don't know what happens. Then I end up with, these little remnants sometimes.
That's one of the things that I've always wanted from podcasts in iTunes. Now we're in this iTunes rat hole, but I like to subscribe to podcasts and have them, when they're published, come down to my device.
Right, to the device.
The device, not iTunes on my computer, because honestly, I don't care to even have them there. Right. I don't want them there, actually. I just want them on my device, because that's where I listen to them, and that's what I want. I want wirelessly for me to set a setting, keep last 3 unlistened for this podcast, and bring it down when the next one's available.
I want one better. I want one better than that. I want it to be ubiquitous across all devices.
Well,
I want to walk
my device.
Well, no, I want all devices. So I want to start listening to it on my iPad, right? Go to the gym, stop it, go back to the iTunes on my computer, and go back and hit play. It knows where I left off. Then head out the door on the iPhone and hit play, and knows where I let off. That it has where it is. It should know I was listening to the 57th minute of CloudFocus Weekly, episode 42. I want it to be everywhere. And
do we do podcasts that are 57
We
minutes?
have done 1 or 2 that are
really
57 minutes.
Those are not the popular ones.
People love them. When we talk about
get downloads.
So
anyway, not too many listens.
Let's dig ourselves out of this rat hole.
Right.
iTunes Match. It's not my pick of the week. I'm going to write a
It's
blog
live
post.
though. So last question though.
Yes,
what do I do to go about using it?
You go into your iTunes.
Just turn on iTunes.
And it literally.
Do I need to update? I probably need an update.
There is an update, yes. There's a new iTunes out. It's 10.5.1 or something. It has it. You purchase it. It then does. It basically runs you through the process pretty well.
How do I pay for it?
It goes through your iTunes account.
So if I have a gift card maybe in my iTunes account, I can pay for iTunes Match?
If you had a $25 gift card, yes, then you could probably pay for it, right? So I like it. To me, it's going to help me. It's going to make me listen to music more of my own music, because I can sit here and just kind of scroll through on my iPad and go, oh, I haven't listened to that album, and click. I'm listening to my stuff again.
That's a neat way to, because right now I have the 16 gig iPhone,
right,
and I have to basically I have a playlist called my iPhone playlist,
right,
and that's what syncs to the phone, which limits me in what I can actually have with me at any given point in time. Same thing for the iPad. I actually don't even put music on the iPad.
Right.
It's more for video. So I have a lot of video, movies and TV shows, no music. So that'll actually give me more of an incentive to have that and be able to listen to music on these devices.
I love the idea of being able to sit in a trying to think as I touch. Sit on a plane, not in the plane, but I've done this for TV shows at the airport, and be like, oh, let me just put together a little quick set of things I want to listen to. Let me go find the Billy Joel collection, or I don't know, pick up my Annie Lennox song and just hit download.
You are the worst.
And let them first of all, don't.
Well,
don't
Billy Joel is amazing, but Annie Lennox.
Okay,
come on
the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack.
Bad Boys 2 soundtrack.
All right, that's hot. So then
Avenue Q, perhaps.
Avenue Q. Do I have the whole soundtrack? No, just one.
No, just
so then you hit one, and then just download it before you get on to the end of the plane.
All right, let's move this along.
All right, so that's it for the iTunes Match. Again, there'll be a blog post next week, blog.arkusinc.com. Probably up in the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame.
Yep.
Head there and read about it, and follow me on Twitter if you want to find out when I post it. So go ahead, give me your pick of the week.
All right, my pick of the week, I'm going to pull it up right now, is there's a recent update since we've been talking about iOS and since we talked about Gmail, I figured I would meld them together and pick the Gmail for iOS.
Okay.
Or for iPhone. Actually, I think it is for iOS completely. So there's a new, this came out, earlier in the month, a few weeks ago, where there was an iOS version of Gmail that was a little buggy. They've recently relaunched it. It has some pretty neat features where it has all your labels, it has all your folders, it has the important flag in it. It's basically a mail client for the iOS for your Gmail account. Pretty neat, free, works with a Google Apps account. Just recently updated, not as buggy as the previous version, and I will honestly say that for me, I will probably never use it because I have Mail on my iOS device and I have my Gmail in it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a Gmail junkie and you like the Gmail interface and you like the way that Gmail looks and interacts and feels, then you'll like this because it looks and feels just like Gmail on the web.
Yeah. So why would I use that over?
I'm not.
No. Why would I use that over using the Mail.app on the app?
It has a couple of the the important, like the priority inbox.
Okay.
You can set that up in here. It works with that. It has, some of the folders that you wouldn't have on the iOS,
Okay.
like chats. You can get to the chat folder, and your labels.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably about it. The actual look and feel of the actual messages are Gmail-like, so they have that conversation view, where they're all broken out.
Yep.
So very similar to. I won't really use it all that often, but I figured I'd pick it since it's out and we were talking about Gmail and iOS, and I downloaded it to play with it. So figured I'd pick it, let people know it's out there.
Great. All right, so I'm gonna make my my pick is that's free, obviously. If it's Gmail,
Free,
it's
yeah,
free.
totally free.
So I'm gonna go off the beaten path and pick something totally wacky that I've used and played with before that I enjoy when I watch other people, and I'll talk about that in a second. Play. It's a totally wacky, kind of crazy pick, but I feel like we picked a lot of iOS apps or Force.com labs or whatever. So I'm just gonna pick something that I think is fun, and it's something called Flickchart.
Okay.
And Flickchart is a website that basically answers the age-old question, which is which movie is better, and that's it.
That's it.
What it does is you log in, you create an account, and then it shows you two movies in front of you. It goes, right now I'm looking at Something About Mary from 1998 versus Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon of 2000. And then you pick it and you say, you know what? I think Something About Mary was a better movie. It saves it, and then it adds you two more. And then what it does is, over time, it creates your list of your favorite movies of all time. Right? Ranked, because it keeps putting them up against each other. So right now, then I get Rush Hour from 1998 versus Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I'm going to go Lock, Stock. Better movie. If you haven't seen it, you can say, I haven't seen it, and it puts it on your list of shame that you can then go back and see which movies you haven't seen and maybe rent them from Netflix or whatever. I got this from a podcast called Totally Rad Show, which has been around for a long, long time, and basically they do a game called where there's three of them, and they basically have these and they pitch them against each other. So they have to all agree, or two of the three have to agree which ones, and they create their sort of all-time list. It is a little addicting when you play it, but it's fun because it kind of reminds you of old movies that you have or have not seen. It then allows you to, it shows you the covers, so it's kind of fun to see all, and they have different covers, like hundreds of different covers. So sometimes you'll see, I'm seeing Bowling for Columbine right now, that is a totally different cover than you would, the poster. And you can, of course, integrate it with, other friends. You can show other people's lists. It is quite fun. And if you're a movie buff, if you like it, it always shows you on your side, shows your top 20 of all time. So my top 20 right now, which seems right if I read down it: Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Top Gun, Blade Runner, Stand By Me, 2001, And it goes down and down and down. But again, the more you rate, the more it kind of then builds your list. And it'll keep pitting them against each other. Little fun game. Works on, the website works on the iPad, works on the thing. It's like a 10, 20 minute killer, time killer, but it's kind of fun. Again, just a movie buff thing. Free as free can be. And that's it. Just a fun website. So I'm actually just picking a fun website as opposed to anything else.
Sounds like something I used to play with in college called Hot or Not.
Yes, it is for movies. That is inappropriate. Yes.
It is a website.
Yes, it is a website. Yes, kind of like that. But the fun part is like seeing other people's lists, and so you can connect up and see what other people think are great. Anyway, flickchart.com. Spell it like you say it, FLICKCHART.com. That's it for the this episode of CloudFocus Weekly. Go to blog.arkusinc.com to read all our blog posts. We get one a week, and we also do the podcast once a week, so you want to do that there. Follow the company at Arkus Inc., which is on Facebook and Twitter, ARKUSINC. I'm at twitter.com/Jason M. Atwood, and Justin's here is at Just Edelstein. We're on Facebook, as I mentioned. Go to iTunes, subscribe to the podcast. Like today, we're doing it as a Wednesday early podcast for some other previous arrangements we have on Thursday. So next week, we're probably doing an early one as well. But if you subscribe in iTunes, whether it syncs to your devices wirelessly or not, you'll be able to get it whenever it comes out. That's really the best way. Also, remember to leave comments on the actual posts on the blog. We'd love to see that using Discuss. Until next week, and as always, as we get closer to a very wintry winter, enjoy those cloudy days.